Hey, yo, this is Mavito. Yeah, today we're going to be talking about just basics and habits. Really, basics and habits. Yeah, because people underestimate the basics of things. Understanding how things work, understanding how things work. So the idea here is to start off with um just understanding the rules first. So understanding the rules first. I like an idea that I once got. I think it was from Zig Ziglar, I think, or Jim Rohn. So probably Zig Ziglar, who said, if you're living in an area and there's a giant steel thing that comes down each and every year on the 12th of June and destroys everything beneath it, whether humans or whatever, cars, destroys everything, goes back and comes back the next year, June the 12th. The first thing you must do before you analyze why that thing is doing that and where does it come from and who put it in place, the first thing is to move away out of the range of that thing. So, first of all, survive. You survive first. So, that's the first thing. So after learning survival, so you're able to eat, you're able to drink, so you got that sorted. And then just make sure that they will be in perpetuity. So once they are in perpetuity, you know how to survive now. Next thing, how to be a little more comfortable. You see this thing. More comfortable means later you increase your chances of surviving for a longer duration of time. If you wish to survive for a longer duration of time, that is. So, you see that there's this thing, unit of trade called money. Eh? Mammon, money. Eh. You say, "Oh, okay, I see how money is made. Let me ask myself the basics. You start with the basics. I'm talking about the basics. The basics is, how do people make money? What do you ever ask yourself this? And how do people make more money after they started? But let's start with the basics. People make money by um, bringing value to other people, and then other people are willing to pay for that. See this thing? Hmm. So the convenience, for example, of an Uber coming to fetch you and getting you from point A to point B, you give them money. See, they provided value, and you give them money. Someone gives you food, and then to appreciate um what they're doing, it's always a trade. That's why I say learn the basics. Money is a form of trade. So you're trading your money uh, in exchange for something else. In this case, you found a way to buy food, to trade money for food, and you have enough money to buy food every day to survive. Okay, so you say, how can I bring more value so I can improve more people's lives? Now it's getting more interesting. The next question would be, what do people actually want? You say this thing. And this is quite easy to get to, man. Quite easy to get to. People want a lot of things, man. People want a lot of things. And one of the ways to actually find out what people want is to analyze what you want. What you want is money. So you can find out how to help other people make money. So you're solving your own problem, but in the middle of solving your own problem, you see that you can generalize it and provide it as a service. You see, generalize it and provide it as a service. If it works, you must test it out first. Test out your formula first. After you get more money, then you can write something or teach people how to make that money so that uh, they can be better off. You see the thing. So let's go back to what we were talking about. Um, you are done with the basics, with survival. See, somehow you have to get shelter, but shelter you can kind of survive without it. You just need food. After you get to a point whereby you're starting to analyze this thing, you see, okay, you can, for example, go to a restaurant. In that restaurant, you can say, let me wash your dishes. In exchange, just give me a plate so I can eat. you're providing value now. They would have hired a person and give them the money. But now you're no longer trading your service for money. You're trading your service for food. You see this thing? Yes. So you've started with the trade now. Oh my goodness. And in this life is just trade. Whatever you think of, it's just trade. So you've started with the basics now. You know how to have food on the table. That's just an example of how to do it. You see this thing. Another way is to just go to become a beggar, where it's more likely that people will give you money and you can trade your money for food and you can survive. You've started the survival game. Once you learn how to consistently do it, if you find that place that always gives you that money, find ways of increasing that. You can say, okay, you'll give me a meal for this number of plates, but if I go further, are you willing to give me something like some coins of money? And then you negotiate. So it's a trade, man. Life is a trade. You negotiate. You say, can I get $50 for every 50 plates that I wash? Huh? Not a lot of people can actually bargain that. But some people will want more because they think they have an ego. They say, I'm worth more. This is happening in the uh, restaurant industry, by the way, waiters and waitresses from certain countries not wanting to work because they pay so little. See this thing. So if you get past that, then you get to a point whereby you but bathing and the likes, you can go to a mall, just do it nicely and wet your cloth and go inside. So don't make it obvious for security guards to chase you away. See the thing. So the bathing is sorted, the hygiene part, the food part is sorted. Now you've started with income. You've started to make income now. See this thing? It's quite interesting, man. It's quite interesting. So an interesting thought process. And as I mentioned before in another, I think it was on TikTok, that in all of these things, look at options. The restaurant one is not the only option. You see this thing. You can go to the rural areas and survive from there because there are farms and you can just eat and yeah, you can survive. And another way is try to find family somehow and then let them help you, assist you until you're up on your feet. So there are multiple ways of doing it. Sharp. You started making some money. Uh, your hygiene is sorted. All right. Now getting to make more money. Talk to the manager. Improve your services. Your place must be very clean, man. Advertise yourself well. Get to a point whereby you can ask to be a waiter or waitress. You can just, I'm told you about negotiation. You can just say, I'll start with commissions. Yeah, you don't have to give me, I'll just work out of tips. If you work out of tips and see that you get more from tips than your $50, 50 plays, then you have something, man. By the way, I'm just thinking about this as we go along. It'll make it more fun. Now you've gotten to, let's say, 200 rands a day. All right. Okay. Now you're making progress, man. Now you're making progress. But remember, you don't owe anything. You don't have a loan. You don't have anything. You don't have dependents. You don't have anything. So it's your money. You can do whatever you like. Your food is still sorted. Your food is still sorted. So you're surviving, you have money. Shelter might be, you must just negotiate about the shelter thing, whether filling station or whatever. Yeah, just make sure you survive. Don't hang around, dangerous people and areas. Yeah, but that's a no-brainer. Your DNA will actually help you in survival to a certain extent. Sharp. Now start to provide more value. And one of the easiest ways in life to provide more value is just to excel in whatever is giving you an income. You see, whatever is giving you an income, just excel in it. All of a sudden, every customer says this guy is the best guy. He checks on us frequently. This guy, the orders, he makes sure he follows up. He comes through and gives us updates. Some waitresses are slacking. They've been working there for years. Now you are making progress. By the way, the waitress thing is just an example. You can just think of another example. Washing cars. Go to a car wash and say, I'll assist. You just have to give me this amount, or per car. Give me 10 rands or whatever per car. And then once they see that your services are better, customers see that your services are better, then they would ask for you. And you get to a point whereby they have no choice than to later promote you into being a supervisor, then manager and senior manager and all those. You'll work up the ranks. But remember something. You must remember that there are limits. There are limits to a certain professional space, a certain space. There are limits in the car wash industry, unless you're an owner. That's when you can use distribution, a distributed model will actually give you more. You see this? So yeah, once you get to a certain limit in a particular industry, you must learn about other industries. There are public libraries, man. You can learn about these things. Learn about limits of different industries and which industries pay more. You see this? And then learn how to get into those industries. We learned a bit about the food industry now, the services industry, about just providing car washes with your hands and your time, and they give you a remuneration from that. And then you can tap into other industries as well. Start with the basics. It's free, man. Some of them are free. For example, let me give you an example. If you want to play chess, now you start with. I won't give a lesson on chess. I'm just showing you something about basics and developing basics. People have been playing chess for a while. Like, they push pieces all around. They just do some stuff here, man. They've been playing chess for years, a lot of years, man. They just be playing and playing random. But they saw that later. Later they saw something, man. Let me reset this. They saw that whoever controls these 4 squares actually performs better over time. Over time, meaning in a number of games. They thought to themselves, okay, let me start by controlling this thing, these 4 squares they call the center. You see, they went from a basic of just knowing how pieces move to learning a pattern. Say, oh, I can tap into that pattern. See, now they say, what if I push twice? If I start with this, starting with already, you're not inventing the wheel. You're starting with the basics which are in place. See this thing. If I push this twice, this pawn twice will arrive here. I'm attacking this square here. Already I'm attacking a central square and I've occupied one central square. Now I'm making progress. Black can come with a counter argument and say, let me also attack this and also occupy one of the central squares. See. Now, after a number of permutations with such moves, they start to see which patterns lead to more success. You see this thing? Later they saw that if we take out our knight, we attack these central squares. Remember the basics. Those 4 squares that they call the center, we're just working off the basics. Black said, I can do the same. Let me take out my knight, attack this, and also attack this square. White would say, if I take out that knight, it will no longer attack this square and this square. Then my knight will have a monopoly on these 2 squares. Let me take it out. How can I take it out? I can push this pawn twice and I can push it again. But if I push this pawn twice, this bishop will take the pawn. Or even this knight will take the pawn. So that might not work. Alternative, okay, this bishop can go through and attack this knight from here. Okay, let me take it through there. Once you reach this position, they even gave it names just to make things simpler. They say this is the royal of pairs. You see, Roy Lopez. Roy Lopez was a priest. You see this thing. Others call it a Spanish game. Spanish game. Just for you to know the basics. After you know the basics, no? After you know the basics, turn them into subconscious habits. You see this thing. Learn to recognize if it comes to this position, learn to recognize the position very quickly. And if you see an empty board, learn to recognize the board and the resulting position very quickly. So you can play these moves like without even thinking. Just like driving and walking and your heart beating, just do it automatically. So we get through the basics quickly. Get through the basics quickly and to utilize more of your mind. Remember, they just said we use around what? Below 10% of our mental capabilities. And I'm tapping into the greater than 10%. The greater than 10% will come with habits. See this thing? Automating basics. And then once you get to a basic and understand it and automate it, nah, you build upon it. You say, what's the next step after this? You see, what's the next step after this? You see, now you can create your own complex structures. Yeah? Complex structures in your own mind. The more complex you get, the more money comes through. I'm telling you, the more money comes through. So, as I mentioned, it's really about the value that you give, and you can give more value if you understand better. And if you move away from basics quickly, you create a basic building block. From the basic building block, you create a block on top of it. You're still understanding the basic. Now you have an atomic block. It's two blocks that are joined to one another. So you know how to move pieces. You move away from that. You commit it into a habit. You know how to control the center. The importance of that. You move past that basic. Create a habit out of it. Now you have two building blocks that are just habit. You move away from it. You don't think about it. It's in your subconscious mind now. Now you move forward. You see this thing. Mm. So it's the same in everything in life. In everything in life. Remember that manual. You have to know to go for the clutch and change the gear. You were looking at them and you look forward. Now you're in danger. But later you saw, this I can just automate and I can just live my life. You can even talk now and play music. You see this thing? Yeah. In many fields, I've tried it in a number of fields and I saw it to work. That's why I can talk about it because I tried it and I saw that it actually works, man. It works. This thing just works. It works. Tried it in software engineering as well. It just works. It just works. Started with the basics. How does the computer work? Remember, I had to understand these things. You don't have to start from scratch, but just know the basics. I had to understand from switches, an on switch and off switch, how it leads to an off one being zero and on one being one. And then building upon that. How to count binary. 0, 1, 0, 1, 1, 1, 0, 0, that's 3. You see, this is how to count. And then, you see, I just know it by head. No need to even think about it. From binary, you see that you cannot live off binary. We're human beings. You can't live off binary in our mental models. You see this thing? Yeah. You can't live off basics. You see this? Yeah. I'll talk about models in another episode. It's quite interesting about the complexity of models, and uh, the more you simplify complex models, the more successful you are. Yeah. So you're not the one who knows ones and zeros in and out. You're the one who knows how to develop software. You see, you move from one to zeros up to a higher abstraction, a more a higher level of understanding of a building block. Your model is more mature from the basics. So you move away from building blocks. You see, The guy who knows that automatically I have to invest in ETFs. It's a habit. You automated, maybe it's a debit order also. He puts it as non-factor. It's gone. It is gone. You see this? It's automated. Now he moves further. He has more success. He should have more success. You see this? So you take all these basics and form habits out of them. And then after forming habits out of them, you no longer have to think about them. You just operate now. You operate at a different level of thinking altogether. You see this? Yeah, man. Yeah. I can give an example of creating websites actually. Let me give you an example of creating. Let me open WordPad here, and then let's say you start with the basics of HTML. How to write websites, man. Now this computer notepad comes with all Windows, so you can do this yourself. So you can, let's just say you write something like HTML and say H1. Welcome to Visual Spatial Business H1. Let's save this. Let's save this somewhere. We can save this under dev. Let's see, let's create a new folder, website, and save it as website.html. Save it in here. After saving it, let's browse there. Website.html. Let's double click it. Look at that. You have started to create a website, man. Okay, let's see what we can do, man. Let's see what we can do now. Now we've started, man. Let's go back to Notepad. Let's say you want to add a link. href to go to Google. Google.com. And then search Google. And then do this. Let's save this and refresh the page. Look at this, there's a button here. Hey, you've started to learn more stuff. Let's click on the button. It takes us to Google. You've started with the basics. Now you're building upon the basics. Let's go back here. Now that the basics are here, you see that if you click on this, it'll open in the same tab. Let's change it. See, as you're learning more, you're implementing it. You learn more, you implement. And this doesn't need any special tools or special learning. Let's say you say target. I want to open it in a different tab. Say blank. Save this file. Save. Go to the browser. Refresh. Click on the button. Now it's no longer in the same tab. Now we have two tabs. Now you've started. When the search in the center, look, it's just HTML only. HTML only. Let's say center. Center. These are just basics, man. Basics first. Basics. Baby steps. Let's just do this. Save it. File. Save. And you see that there's a shortcut Control S. Now you're learning. You don't have to click on file and save anymore. You can just go here. Control S. It's saved. Go to the browser. If you hover on the browser itself, just reload this page. But after some researching, you can click, press the F5 button to reload. So you don't have to struggle. You're learning. You're improving from basics, going to complexity. F5. Look. Now it's in the center. Huh? Oh my goodness. Let's copy this. Paste it here. Say about us. And say, hey, the basics. Contact us. Save it. Control S. Alt tab to go to the browser. F5 to reload. We have this. But all of these are in the same line. Let's break them up. I like this, man. I like this approach of learning. We learn, let's say you Google it or you do whatever, you learn that there's a BR tag, and then you paste it in both places, save, go here, F5. Now you're still to learn. You see this? I won't go into creating websites in this video. I just want to show that you can build upon basics. Now, after you've learned HTML, you're going to learn CSS to style the stuff up to look nice for a business. After it looks better, you go and learn JavaScript. Learn how to make it be more intelligent, the website to be more intelligent. And after a while, you get to a point whereby if you're in a discussion, you can tell your friends, no, man, this business of yours, you can make more money if you have a website, and I can create a website for you. So I'll provide value for you to make more money. You see, that's your value proposition. All from basics, man. All from basics, man. So, yeah, in summary, start with the basics, and from the basics build upon basics. But if basics are getting more complex, transform them into habits. See this thing, transform them into habits. Make sure you do them frequently, or in just in your mind. You can just do them frequently in your mind. HTML tag, h1, h2, h3, the a tag, href, and that you start to learn these things, and then later you learn that there are frameworks which do this for you. You have React, you have Angular, you have Vue. You know that now is this Svelte and all these things, and how do all these things come together? Now there are components that will make my life easier. And then you're learning, and then there's hosting, and then so that other people can reach that website from all over the world. How much is it? And then from the hosting part, you get into someone else can host it for you. And then now you're learning about the cloud. You see, it started with basics, the cloud, and then you get people who know the cloud very well, and they're cloud engineers, and then later on they are cloud architects, and then they are enterprise architects. And you learn, and it all starts with zeros and ones, switches, on switch, off switch. You see this thing? Oh my goodness. Start with the basics, man. Start with the basics, make them habits, and then move forward from there. Move forward from there. You'll end up, you'll be surprised. You'll be using more of your mental capacities. No longer falling under that 10% or so. And those books that you've consumed, you see, Atomic Habits, I just remembered it like automatically. You see this thing. I can remember a lot of things just by the mere fact that they went into the subconscious mind, and you must have a technique of retrieving information. You see, have a technique of retrieving back information that you've stored. You see, I'll talk about the mind and the intellectual mind, and the intellectual part of memory as well, and intellectual part of the body as well, and all these materials. We'll talk about it. Yeah, we're gonna talk about a lot of things, man. Talk about a lot of things. So yeah, stay tuned. Stay tuned. Quantum mechanics, all sorts of things, quarks, and all these electrons, protons, and you'll see how I'll explain them. I'll explain them in simple ways that you will understand, and I'll start with basics. Look, people know that Einstein came up with E equals to MC squared. Go to one person, and you're not belittling a person. Just say, my guy, just explain to me why that guy is so famous and why that equation is famous. Explain the equation to me. You'll find that a lot of people don't understand what's going on there. And it's a very simple equation. He came up with space-time, the concept of space-time. That time can actually curve. Oh, time can curve. We'll talk about it in another subsequent episode. But yeah, tell me how it goes, and then yeah, man, start to be more complex, man. Yeah, build upon what you know already. Don't just stay back and a weekend I'll enjoy the weekend, and every day lunch I'll just eat. And what's happening in your mind, man? In your quiet times, well, yeah, you must just spend time on TVs and like watching TV. No, you can exercise your mind. Keep more visual, yes. I'm out.